Topher right here on Geek Public Radio, coming at you live on all of our little outlets, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, our home thing. We are here hanging out on this dark and stormy night to talk about Scream 6, Humble Bundle being great people, and Netflix being not so great people. So here we go.
You're listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys, talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and generally be old in front of your eyes. Not cool. Now, here's Topher and Crazy Chris, being all old.
All right. Hey, so it is us being all old and whatnot, but
I'm not trying to be old. I'm not trying to be old.
well, I'm not trying to be old either, but that's how things go. I mean,
it is. Hopefully everybody's having a pretty fantastic Friday evening. I know Topher and I are excited to talk to you guys about all these new things that are coming out. We're only 6 days removed from our last live. So we've got a few things to discuss with y'all. Like you said, we're going to be talking about how Netflix is a bunch of boobs, and then how we got information on Scream 6, Humble Bundle, doing some cool stuff for Ukraine. So it's going to be a pretty fun-filled show for you guys. Might even have some Mario Kart news if we can sling it in there. Not really sure how that's going to come off, but I had an absolutely crazy day at work. That's kind of why I'm late. So I do apologize that we got started way later than we wanted to. We're having some audio issues. It's just been a great time over here. So.
Yeah, and now we're in the middle of a storm, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, the storm has been pretty phenomenal for us too. It's it's nice and stormy. It's we started to get the show going, and then the audio started acting funny, and then all of a sudden the skies just opened up, and all hell broke loose. It was pretty fantastic. I'm pretty excited about it. So, anyways, hopefully everybody had a good week. It is the weekend, so that is something to look forward to. As long as you don't have one of them garbage jobs that makes you work on the weekend. I'd like to give a shout out really quick to everybody watching. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Before we get into all the awesome content we have for you, make sure that you guys click the like button and subscribe so you guys don't miss a single thing. And while you're feeling a little bit generous, maybe ring-a-lingy-dingy the belly button, so that way you can be notified every single time that we go live. And that will operate on every single platform. So Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And of course, on geekpublicradio.com, where you can become a member, get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes content. So memberships help us keep going. They help us bring new stuff to you. They help us get to conventions, help us bring you live stuff. Basically, it's the lubricant that greases the wheel that makes GPR turn. And without it, we have to do it ourselves. And nobody likes a solo job. Everybody likes help with friends. I think that's the best way to do things. And I say that with zero double entendre insinuations whatsoever, because
with
that's
all
not what I do.
double entendres.
Every single one, and every single one that was possible. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to start with, I think this is probably the bigger one that everybody's been discussing in the last couple of days. A report came out that Netflix is they're experimenting with charging people for using multiple accounts in different households. So it's no big secret that password sharing has been a thing for quite a while, pretty much since the existence of Netflix and the ability to create multiple accounts. But it is in their user agreement that you are not permitted to share with multiple households, because it does undercut their profit margins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they've been experimenting in places like Chile, Venezuela, I think Madagascar, randomly, I think was on this list. But they have had some success where multiple households using the same Netflix account are going to be charged from this point forward. And to that I say, boo, Netflix, boo, what are you doing? You are, there are a lot of people out there that stream the majority of their stuff for free. Most of us can watch movies and things like that on YouTube. Hulu is significantly cheaper than you are. You just raised your prices, and now you're going to start charging us again. And now you're going to start charging us for multiple accounts. Bad idea.
So how do they know? I mean, you see, yeah, you can tag IPs, but if there's a dynamic IP, like 90% of the United States, it's never going to be the same IP every day that logs. So it's going to look like multiple IPs.
Yeah.
So,
so I'm not really sure how they're going to do
end
it.
up charging people, and they're going to get a lot of people going like, "What the hell, dude?"
Well, apparently the way the system is supposed to work is there will be a notification that pops up, and it says, "We noticed that you are using an IP that is not registered to this account. If you are password sharing, you will be charged. Do you want to proceed?" So it's essentially an extra charge.
Right. But then if, say, I am on my phone and I am getting, sitting somewhere and I have Netflix, it's in our heads, not on the mic.
Okay.
And my IP is different than the thing. They're basically no different than cable at that point, saying you can't stream outside your home Wi-Fi,
which is absolutely garbage, by the way.
Which is the whole purpose of having Netflix, so you can go, like, if you're on a plane and you can do all of that stuff.
Right. Now, what I figure they're going to do, and Forbes has written up a couple things on there. I haven't gone through the entire article, but essentially, Costa Rica, Peru, and Chile, by the way, were the test markets. They're basically going to have separate profiles and multiple streams. So essentially, I think what's going to happen is if multiple profiles are accessing Hulu at the same time, there will probably be issues like that. This is what I think they should do. They've already increased their service, and you're already allowed to stream multiple accounts. Right? If you go to the single stream account, like you can only have one profile, it's in standard def. Right. It's still in standard def, and you can only I've actually we were discussing this the other night, Jassel and I, when we were talking about Netflix, and I said, "Hey, let's maybe drop down to the lower tier plan because this price increase is almost $20 a month, and I don't pay for cable because it's expensive. It just is. I work for Xfinity, and I don't pay for.
And it's getting to the point where it's just going to be that much more expensive to have Netflix.
Right. So what's the point? I don't watch it that often.
I can get YouTube TV for $60.
Yeah.
And that's got like streaming live channels and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Why would I want to pay an extra $20
and I get access to free movies without ads. So what would be the point? It's exactly the same thing. Most movie companies, and I get they're trying to turn their own profit. That's great. I'm not opposed to the capitalism, but at the same time, you have to understand your market, and your market is smarter than you are, and they're going to find a way around this. Not only are they going to find a way around this, ultimately, it's going to be one of those issues where they end up charging people for stuff that they're not doing. Like we discussed, like let's say you're using a VPN where you can change your country's origin. So I can actually claim that using a VPN, I can say that I'm from, let's use Norway. And I get access to Netflix's library of Norwegian movies that's not available from the United States. By doing that, I can access different movies and I can actually watch different movies. It's great. And ExpressVPN, if you guys happen to be watching this, I would love to talk about an advertisement possibly. But it is something cool that you can do using a VPN that is going to cause an issue with this account sharing nonsense. Now, they haven't rolled it out yet. They haven't implemented it. It's still in its test market phase. This is not something that's going to be immediate. So if anybody's like, oh my God, I'm going to cancel my Netflix, don't do that. If you're enjoying your Netflix, continue to do so. But this is something that they're experimenting with. This is something they're talking about, something that they probably want to do, and to try to recoup some of their losses. But you're already charging almost $20 to have multiple accounts as it is, where I can just have Hulu for $9.99 a month. Or I can just switch my cell phone provider every 6 months to a year and just get free Hulu and Disney Plus.
Right. No, but it's like I said, if there's
a dirge of options, and this is really stupid.
So say my son is in his room on his phone and he's running off of his phone data.
Yeah. That's going to give a unique IP.
And I'm watching it, in the living room, and my wife is watching in her room.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 people using, and more than likely at least 2 different IPs. But it's all in the same house.
Yep. And they're not going to be able to tell.
Right.
I think it's
until
a bad
people
plan.
Start either dropping or suing, saying that they're being tagged for something that is
they're not paying
happening.
for. Right.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause them a greater headache. But this was the other thing. The only way that would work is that if IPs became static as part of a utility. It would work in a country like Chile or Costa Rica or something like that, but it's not going to work in America where IPs are unique. They're not utilities.
Right.
Those are unique IPs, and that's why they're unique.
And they're static. Or not they're not static.
Yeah.
They literally rotate like it and you never know when you're going to cycle, it
Right.
could be once a week.
This is going to cause a massive headache.
Once,
Yeah. And I'm not sure how they're going to implement it. And I do concede that this particular technological security is higher than I'm aware of. I'm sure there may be ways that they can detect the origin of the IP, but then it comes down to,
well, no, because there's literally one house in the dead center of the United States that has had the federal government show up at the house looking for runaways. They've had other like law enforcement looking for people. They've had all of these things because the IP address registers to the dead center of the United States. And that just happens to be where their house is located.
That's phenomenal.
They get visited 500 to 600 times a year.
That's a paranormal hobo episode, by the way. I just want you to know that's a paranormal hobo episode.
That is
a Sunday Madness episode.
That is completely how IP addresses. They don't give you, like, right now. If you were to ping ours for the station, it would be 2 cities over,
which is great. I'm totally okay with that.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
it cuts down on spotting.
It really does. Now the problems we've outlined. Now I could talk about the benefits, and we're done. There's genuinely no user-based benefit to implementing this. None. This will not improve user experience whatsoever. The only thing that it's for is to try and recoup some of their losses, which Netflix is one of the very few companies that operates with $1 billion negative. Like, they are constantly in it, but that's because they're constant.
That way too.
It is, and it's because of the investors. So the investors, they owe their investors so much money, and they do pay it. From what I understand, they do pay it back. It does get paid to them, and banks are willing to loan.
And the most interesting part is they're the ones that are spending the most on their originals.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
you're looking at their originals. Well, outside of Amazon now.
Yeah, and Apple's starting to pick up the pace a little bit too. Again, you're still talking about let me think of like Amazon competing against themselves. I guess I'm not really sure what a great analogy is, because I was going to say Nintendo competing against Sony and Microsoft, but realistically, Nintendo doesn't compete against anybody but Nintendo. So,
right,
that's just the way their market works. It always has. I think they've posted losses once, which is just maniacally impressive. They just don't lose money, which is insane to me. But anyways, that's a whole different ball game. But yeah, so yeah, to that I say, boo Netflix, boo. Don't do it. Be smart. Don't be ridiculous. So everybody out there in Geekland, if you guys do have Netflix, continue to enjoy it, but just be on the lookout, because I have a feeling this might be something that they try to implement sneaky style, and they don't. They'll put it in some weird update, and you're just going to click the user agreement because you're not going to be paying attention, because nobody ever reads the user agreement. I do, but that's because I'm weird.
Or they'll just like, oh hey, by the way, yada yada yada.
Yeah, here's an email.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, something stupid like that. But so just starting off with that ridiculous negative and jumping into some cool positive stuff, right? So Netflix, boo, but Humble Bundle, yay. Humble Bundle, yay. Man, I think it's really cool that we partnered with them. I think that them being a sponsor for the show is super amazing, and us opening up the game/bookstore that we did with Humble Bundle works out really well. And seeing some of the things that they do, this is not part of the ad read, by the way. This is just actually something really cool that I came across today. Humble Bundle is actually offering, as of today, a Stand With Ukraine bundle, where 100% of all of the proceeds of the purchase of what you're doing actually go to Bless it. 100% of the proceeds of your purchase actually go to the Ukrainian relief fund. So they're going to be donating that money to Ukraine to help out with refugees, to help get people out of the country, to help people rebuild in the eventuality that this comes to an end. And we hope that's sooner rather than later. But if you are in fact interested in that, the Humble Bundle, you can actually go to the Geek Public Radio Humble Bundle. What's the website, Chris?
Underneath it's in the description.
Okay, so yeah, click on is it a link?
Yeah.
Okay, click on the link in the description of this show, and you guys can find us there. And if you purchase it through them, or purchase the Humble Bundle through us, that helps us get paid, and it also helps out a really good cause. And I'm going to cite here. I actually have the games that are included. Just got to give me just 1 second here. Okay, so apparently the Humble Bundle actually includes games like Back for Blood. That's the new release. That was received fairly well. I think that's actually a pretty cool one. For those old school classic gamers like myself, Spyro Trilogy is included. The remastered trilogy is going to be included in that as well. Metro Exodus is going to be there. And then, of course, the Fable Anniversary Edition is included in this Humble Bundle as well. So this is a Stand With Ukraine bundle. And again, 100% of those proceeds go to the Ukrainian Relief Fund to help people and refugees that are fleeing Ukraine. So if you guys want to check that out, the books that they're offering include the Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So if you're a tabletop gamer and you've been looking to get your hands on a Pathfinder 2nd Edition book, this is a great way to do it and help out a good cause at the same time. So click the link in the description below. Check out the Stand With Ukraine bundle. And if you're so inclined, man, hit that button, make that purchase, and the 100% of your purchase will go to the Ukrainian Relief Fund. So we do thank you guys for that. And Humble Bundle, kick ass, man. I think that's super amazing that you guys would do that. With all honesty, it's difficult for smaller places like ourselves, but we do try to give something to those less fortunate than ourselves. We're not always the best at it, but yeah, that's what we try to do. So yeah, Stand With Ukraine bundle with the Humble Bundle. You guys should check them out, definitely for sure. But yeah, I think that's really cool personally that they would do that.
Oh heck yeah, and it's nice to have them on board with us as well.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very, very excited. So covered Humble Bundle, obviously Netflix doing its Netflixy stupid stuff. Now let's talk about some horror.
The new Scream movie.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited. So I don't know if anybody has seen the new Scream movie. It's actually been received fairly well. Most fans of the original series are very, very happy with the way that they have done everything. It's a sequel-ish. It's a
But
sequel
isn't it called
slash,
like Scream?
It is just called Scream. Yeah, the new one is literally just called Scream. Kind of like Halloween was just called Halloween, right? It's just, it is what it is. So the new movie, they don't have a title for you. So the tentative title is actually just called Scream 6. So if you guys are looking forward to the next installment, they have committed to its creation and they are working hard on that right now. So the sequel has begun, and it may be called Scream 2, which will be the second installment of the same name. So Scream 2, the second coming, I guess. But nobody ever said that Hollywood names were original. I personally think that most of the Hollywood names that they come up with are pretty garbage. That's just my personal opinion. Not always the best representation of the material, but it might be called Scream 2, it might be called Scream something else. Not really sure, but the details on that, it seems to be, is March 31st, 2023. So that's the tentative release date for the second Scream installation, or installment, and it will be a continuation. So it will be the 6th Scream movie, but it will be the sequel to the one that was literally just released. And I don't know, did you watch it? Did you get a chance to watch it? Okay.
I'll be
I
honest
haven't
with you,
either.
I've checked out of the Scream thing, like like the second one.
Our friends from Misunderstood, specifically Lindsay, she posted kind of like a mini review about it, and she absolutely loved it. Up and down, ranted and raved, and it's her favorite horror franchise. So I mean, there's definitely some bias with that particular review. But when I hear horror fans talk about specific horror movies and their franchises, if a franchise lover likes the movie, then it's a good movie. Then it was played to the right audience. It was presented to the right people.
Right.
And I'm cool with fan service. That's why I liked the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. It was a fan service style movie. Totally okay with that. They had original-ish material, original character design, and then did enough with the source material to keep it true to the Ghostbusters franchise.
Right. And to
still,
bookend, it gives you a nice
right
bookend to the thing, and
opens up the possibility for more of them in the future.
The throwaway line, I figured you'd be here, or figured you'd show up.
Right. And it's silly stuff like that that really makes a franchise, somebody who loves the franchise, it really warms the cockles. And for Scream lovers, apparently it's been very well received. For casual horror fans, apparently it's more of the same. This is kind of a recycled-ish flick, so it does okay with the right people. And but the biggest positive for me, the biggest takeaway is that Scream lovers love this new Scream movie, so they should be excited for a continuation of these new characters and this new plot. So look forward to that, March 31st, 2023. For those of you who are big Scream fans, that's what you got to do.
On that note, I am on the struggle bus at the moment, so we're going to back off of here, and it's going to be a short show this week. Sorry about it, but we will be back this time next week, hopefully earlier.
Right.
So
I'll do my ads real quick, and then we'll go. So really quick, make sure you go to geekpublicradio.com. Consider becoming a member over there. Make sure you guys go to blackbook.com. You can go or blackbookmovie.com, where you can find your copy of the DVD and the Blu-ray. You can also get a copy of the book, written by Mr. Topher Chambers, Angelica R. Hill, Stuart Wallen, and Joe Herbert. You can find the Audible of that book, of which I am the voice. So if you enjoy my melodious voice echoing in your ears, that is the place to go. Of Rutledge Productions, we thank them very much for sponsoring the show. As always, Humble Bundle. Click the link down in the description below. We already talked a little bit about that. Make sure you pick up your Stand With Ukraine bundle to pick up games like Back 4 Blood, Fable Anniversary Edition, and if you're a tabletop gamer, of course, the Pathfinder 2.0. Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I suppose. And then also, make sure you go to Black Book Comic. Check that out. And then, of course, our sponsors over at LifeWave. So we do appreciate those guys over there at LifeWave. If you are interested in picking up something that will help to make you feel more revitalized, make you feel a little bit younger, help you heal just a little bit faster if you're not feeling quite yourself, then make sure you check out the guys over at LifeWave. You can see them at, I believe it's, the website. lifewave.com/1love7. And then you can reach the rep directly at Barry at 1love7.com. It's Barry at 1love7.com. So thank you guys very, very much for joining us. We do appreciate everybody sticking around. We're sorry that's a short show. But yeah, we got to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do to stay safe and take care of ourselves as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. We will be back with you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you guys so much again. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe. This has been Crazy Chris. And that was Topher.
You've been listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys talk about old. Talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and try not to poop in their diapers while they're talking. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Twitter at Free Geek Radio, on Facebook and Instagram at Geek Public Radio, and the website geekpublicradio.com. We'll see you next time.